All right, what up, y'all? This is Scottie D from Faygoluvers.net, and I've got an interview that's been a long time coming. We got Blazy Dead Homie on the line. What's up, Blaze?
What up, though? Scotty D. Been a minute, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
We've been in the game, and and you have as well, or at least on our radar, for almost 15 years. I don't know how it is that we've never done an interview, but I'm glad it's finally come.
Well, we talked plenty of times, me and you. I mean, I've talked to you. I've seen you plenty of times at gatherings and in Dallas and all types of different spots.
Right, right.
But yeah, for sure. That's what's up.
Right. So I'm gonna get started with a little bit of your backstory, just for I mean I can't imagine anybody not knowing what you're about. But for those who don't, your website blazydead1.com gives you a pretty in-depth history of like how you first got started.
That's what's up.
But for those who don't know, how did you get your start rapping?
Oh man. I mean, it was basically just following the footsteps of my peers and people around me that were doing the thing. And I said it was big. Rap was big out here in Detroit, and not just rap. It was more like a scene, a different style scene. And I don't know, people call it horrorcore. Each shop called it acid rap. And I've heard all types of different things, but it was just different. It's wicked, and it was something different. And I think, like I said, I started well back in high school. I was probably just getting out of high school, and I would just be out rapping in parking lots and stuff. And people always like, man, why don't you do some of your own shit, And basically, I was kind of just rapping other people's verses forever. And I hooked up with a ninja that was, doing the same type of stuff. And he was the first one that was like, man, hey, you should let's do something together. And that's kind of where it started. And, we just did some stuff together. And through the course of that, I met Twiztid, who were House of Crazies at the time. And I realized how stupid I was. I was young and green, didn't know a damn thing. We were making posters and flyers and stuff and didn't have anything out yet. It was like, oh yeah, we're the greatest ever. It's two crazy devils. They're the greatest. You guys gotta hear them. And everybody's like, who the fuck are they? But we had, flyers out. So it was like you never heard who the hell we were, but you could see us on flyers. So I don't know. We were just really green and didn't know shit. So we didn't even have a thing recorded, and they were like, hey, I ended up basically, it was kind of just through luck of whatever it is that I met Madrox and ROC together, and they were promoting House of Crazy's record. I think it was Homebound at the time, and through that we were just kind of talking. I kicked it to them for a minute. It was almost like I knew these guys forever. And, ROC shot me a price on some studio time and told me, hey, you guys need some help. Give us a call because we know how it is getting in. You know what I mean? When you're starting out, you don't know nothing. And everybody when you don't know nothing when you're starting out, they'll try to rip you back then. Nowadays you can go on your computer and make your own songs. But back in the day, it was a lot of work. It had 8 tracks and you had reel-to-reels and all types of different stuff. And it wasn't as easy as it is now. So, we went up to a spot, a reputed studio, and asked them about some studio time, and they gave us a runaround kind of about how much your money would cost, $500 for a rap demo tape, they called it. And the catch was that you never got to keep any of your material. So you basically just rapped on it. You got a cassette tape of it, and that was it. Now, if you wanted to go make more cassette tapes of it, you need to reel the reel so you could put them to the people so you can actually make them. So, they would get over on people like that. And when we walked in there the first time, we had this meeting with the people there, and $500 could have been like $3 million to me at the time. I was like, no way, I'll never make that. It's crazy. So, the next minute out, it was probably at 11:30, 12, midnight. I called ROC right there outside of the studio on a payphone outside of the studio. Walked outside. Hey, bro, what's up? You remember me? We need some studio time. And yeah, that's how it kicked off for real.
So ROC recorded the few tracks that you did as Two Crazy Devils.
Yeah, ROC did most. He did. He did a lot of production on that, and his cousin EVOL, he did a lot of production on that. A little bit of production, the pre-production at the beginning, and yeah, it was mostly ROC and the other ninja Scraps. He did a little bit of production here and there, and yeah, that's kind of what it was. That was our beginning, and I remember our first ever instrumental was something done by Marcus, that's ROC's cousin, and it had wolves in there, and they were wow, wow, wow. We were like, oh yeah, that's great. I mean, we're really gonna rap to that? All right. I mean, I told you we were green. We were like, yeah, anything sounds cool. We just want to rap. And that's kind of what it was. But like I said, to their credit, House of Crazy's Twiztid. These guys seen something, that we actually had heart in what we were doing, and we were willing to put in work. You know what I mean, to get better, and that's kind of what it was.
Who at the time were your biggest influences?
My influences at the time, I mean,
Yeah.
I had a lot of different ones. I grew up, like I said, there's so much different music around me. I have a lot of family, so I just music came from all over different spots for me. So I would hear all types of different things. So I mean, what I might put into my music might not be what what the sound was that I liked at the time. But I was influenced by all types of stuff. I mean, there was heavy metal, rock stuff that was really was hot. You know what I mean? To me at the time, it was hot. It was dope. It was sweet. Like Black Sabbath, my brother, me and him used to fucking rock out the Sabbath. And just crazy shit that was, like I said, there was just different style music that might not, pertain to anything that I do now. But to me, that's kind of what it sounded great, the mixture between, you know what I mean? Because when you look at some of Eshawn's old school stuff, some of that was, influence. It sounds a lot like some Sabbath or, some Alice Cooper or Metallica. Just, all the hardcore shit, just the different rocks. But like I said, I was influenced mostly by West Coast music. And then when I kind of, expanded and seen stuff that I was like, oh, whoa, there's actually groups that do music in my city. You know what I mean? House of Crazy were the first ones I've seen, but I've seen, through them, I've seen ICP, who was already doing it. You know what I mean? They already had it going on. I've heard of Eshawn before that because I said he was on the east side, kind of where I grew up, so I've heard of Eshawn, but I didn't hear ICP till like midway, probably through my senior year, maybe a little after that of high school. And I remember kind of like I said, I heard it through a girl. You know what I mean? That's what it was. The girl I was talking to had Beverly Kills, I think. Some of that, I think it was Beverly Kills, and I don't know if it was new at the time or old, but that's the first time I kind of heard them. And it's like I heard people in the neighborhood, they were doing it. And, Kid Rock he came from Romeo. I'm from Mount Clemens. Well, Kid Rock kind of got its real start in Mount Clemens where I grew up. So, I've heard of him for years. You know what I mean? Him and Uncle Cracker he wasn't Uncle Cracker at the time, but he's been doing it. These guys were like Uncle Cracker's kind of area where I grew up. You know what I mean? Like straight up, like we're not the same age at all, so we don't know each other like that. But yeah, he's about the same area where I'm at. You know what I mean? So it's like music has been around, and I just, I picked up on a lot of different stuff on the outskirts, like I said, which is West Coast rap, and then a lot of rock music, and then even funk music. You know what I mean? I've listened to so much different shit. It's crazy.
Right, right. So, at what point in your music career did you decide to pursue rap full time, quit working any other odd jobs that you might have had, and just do music full time?
Man, I swear to God, I swear to you, I had a job all the way up to the point where I started working for Psychopathic, and they were like, because to me it was about work. My whole life was always like, work, work, work. Just have a job, just do some. I mean, to the point where most of my people in my family were like, hey, you got to go to college. You know what I mean? College is where it's at. Well, I dabbled. I went there and dabbled. And I dabbled even during the time of doing music. And, you know what I mean? That's where I kind of figured out this wasn't really the life that I wanted to do here. You know what I mean? And I kind of, this is more suited to what I like to do is over here. You know what I mean? And I'm one of them people who, a lot of people say, oh, I knew I want to be a fireman when I grow up. Oh, I want to be I'll be like Snoop. I want to be a motherfucking hustler. You know what I mean? But no, to me, it was like I never really had that. It was like I don't, there wasn't nothing that was specific for me. It's like I want to do a lot of things, and I think I can do a lot of things. But this was kind of my main start with it. Like, let's move towards this, and continue from there. Try to branch off and do some different things as it goes.
I gotcha. So, out of everything that you've ever released with either your solo and group projects, what's the album that you're most proud of?
The album I'm most proud of, that's tough to say. It's like uh, right now, I mean, it's it's cliche to say, but I would have to say this record that I'm about to drop
Okay.
on the 21st, Gang Rags Reborn, because like I said, this is the first time that it's been just out, by it's not touched by anybody besides us. You know what I mean? This is by me, by Twiztid, and by Seven. It's just it's a different mix and it's a different sound. And like I said, it's probably the best that I've ever sound. It could be the maybe the most realistic sounding Blaze you ever heard. You're like, oh, I usually sound like you're jumbling your words and this and that, or you don't sound like you're mixed very good. Well, I think this can hold up with a lot of things that's out there that, you'll hear me and you're like, whoa, I can understand. You might be able to go in and actually write down my vocals and somebody won't have them all jumbled and wrong. Most of the time, that's what I see online. I'm like, damn, I didn't say that.
I hear you.
Pretty entertaining. But yeah, I mean, it's like before that, I would have to say, before that, it has to be, I'd have to say, man, it's tough because Cold and Grundy to me was like one of them albums that was kind of like a stamp in what I was doing. Like it took a while to release. There were things that happened during that time where I was gone or stopped doing music for a minute. I had some deaths in the family. It wasn't cool. And it just, part of me wasn't into it at that moment. But when it finally did come out, I was 100% into it. So it felt like, that was one of them records I was so proud. Like, man, this is Blaze, but this is Blaze in a different light. It's a hip hoppy style. It's a little different, and I was very proud of that. But as I said, each record that I do, I mean, there's something that I'm like, oh man, I love this about this. I can go on forever. I can tell you, Clockwork Gray. I loved Wishing Well. It was just so, it's what I mean. It's just there's certain things to me, I guess, in songs and in different areas of things that I'm like, yeah, that's the shit.
Okay. I'm definitely going to expand more on Gang Rags Reborn in a few, but I have a few other questions before I hit that. So
That's what's up.
I wanted to know, in your I guess you've had roughly a 13-year career at Psychopathic, right? So
At least.
yeah, so it seemed like Blaze solo records were kind of few and far between. And I know you had some issues going on like in 2003 and stuff like that, but was the rarity of a release, was that by choice, or was that,
technically, I would say at the beginning, in the first couple of records, it was by choice. Up to, up to Cold and Grundy and stuff, it kind of was. It was like, this was kind of how the music business was going at the time. It was, hey, drop a record every 2 years, drop a little bit of, something in between EP-wise. But at the label, it seemed like I was waiting behind a certain person, waiting behind them, waiting behind him, waiting behind him. Whoever I was waiting behind, it ended up like, okay, well, we can push him back to the back burner for a minute because, it's all right. His record will be out in another, we'll work on that next, So it's like I didn't mind taking, to step back and waiting. Because in a sense, like I said, I was all for the company, all for one, and one for all style, and I'm 100%. I was just down for whatever. Let's just keep it moving. So I liked it in a sense that because each record that I came with was consistent, and it was consistent like this is consistently Blaze. This is what he does here and there. But in between, I would have loved to have more projects in between. I would have loved to have different things, but in a sense, I think that kind of hindered me on some of the different things like videos and stuff like that. It's just the way the game was at the time. And then when it started moving and getting different where everybody's like, oh, let's put out 3 records a year, by that time I'm already now way back behind everybody. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it was.
Do you think that now that you're doing your thing with Twiztid with the new label, do you think you'll have more albums and videos released more frequently?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I said it's mostly that's what it is. Like, I think it's not like you're waiting on other people, but when there's so many other artists there that you got to, look out for, everybody's got to get their time and everybody's got to get their month and their shine and whatever, for each record. And it seems like now we have less. You can do more is what it is. You know, it's like now it's just about me getting into the studio more, and you know that's basically all it is, and that's what I'm working on now. You know, just trying to live in the studio and get back to, you know, what it was well back before. You know, I mean, I think kind of what I mean. Let me go back to it. I think kind of the reason why a lot of my stuff did have that in between misses and nothing there is because I think people believe that I was giving them something through Lotus and Rydas, you know what I mean? And it's like, not to say I'm on the Rydas, because I'm not a rider, but, you know what I mean? It's like there was music still coming from me, technically, and, you know what I mean? And maybe to some people's idea, they saw that, you know, that was enough. They're like, well, he can wait we'll get him his next record you know what I mean? We'll wait a little bit and get to that. So, I mean, you know, I said they felt like music, I still had stuff on happening. So, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of, you know, part of it too. It wasn't 100% me saying, let's wait forever. And it wasn't, you know, them saying, you got to wait. It was just like I said, it was kind of like the music business, the way it was, and then kind of how it changed throughout the course of me, you know, being there and continuing, you know.
Right. I got you. Yeah, I mean, because it's a little bit misleading when you look at your discography, just showing your solo releases, but when you kind of piece it all together, like you said, with Rydas, you know,
right.
and Lotus.
Right.
Yeah,
you'll see that I have stuff going on. It's just I wasn't, you know, like I said, it just wasn't my records each time. And, you know what I mean? There got to be points where I would, you know, be openly trying to conflict with certain things with writers. Like, hey, man, you know, to the point where I would joke with some of the guys and be like, man, I fucking hate the writers. Fuck them. You know what I mean? They're taking my shit. Get out of here. That bullshit. You know? Like, it was like all for one for all.
Yeah, right. So, obviously, with you and Twiztid leading Psychopathic, there was a lot of bullshit drama talk online.
Oh, I'm sure.
What I wanted to ask, though, is what was it like getting back into the studio when you guys recorded Lotus? Was there a different vibe, or was it all just did it all feel like it was just getting back together with family?
It was a lot of the same. I mean, it actually, to me, it almost seemed like it was back before when we used to do stuff when we first started, you know what I mean, together. And it seemed a little nicer in that aspect, you know what I mean? Because we all know each other, and we've been working together for years, and we've been friends and family for years. And it's, you know what I mean? Like I said, it wasn't awkward. It was like, hey, what's up? You know, it's like, I just seen you a couple weeks ago. Hey, what's going on? Let's do, you know, we got music to do. You know what I mean? It's been that way. And I said, you know what I mean? That's kind of what it always has been with them. You know what I mean? We've always been, you know, we'll always be family of some sort. You know what I mean? You know, if they want to call us whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. We're still family. You know what I mean? We got love for them. They got love for us. And, you know, it isn't really about that. It's just about everybody expanding, growing up a little bit, and, you know, everybody getting their own thing, sort of, you know. It's like, I mean, that's the best I can say. I mean, you know, if everybody's really family, they wouldn't be mad at family building and getting and just moving on and continuing, you know. I mean, it's not like we're moving on out of the way. It's like we'll continue to move up with everybody, and we hope everybody moves with us, you know.
Yeah, and that's been the consensus of everybody that I've asked about this subject. You know, everybody says the same thing, and it all seems legit, you know, for real. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, it really, man. I mean, you know, there's no room for that. Especially, you know, we've been doing this stuff for years, you know, and we know what we put together, and nobody's trying to destroy any of that. It wasn't about that. It's not about destruction of anything. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see, you know, nobody wants to see Psychopathic gone, and nobody wants to see us gone. It's you know, we want to continue building, and if anything, expand and get bigger. You know what I mean? And build this underground scene back to what it was when we first started again, you know?
One thing that I've always been curious about on such a big collaborative project like a Rydas or a Lotus, especially a Lotus, do you guys talk about like song subjects and titles and then like bring your verses to the studio, or do you all write them and record them on the spot? How does that all work?
It all depends. It's like, for the most part, it goes the second way you said it. It's like we all talk about titles, everybody throws stuff out, you know what I mean, for different things, and then we go from there. You know, everybody writes, you write your verse, and then we'll collaborate on writing choruses, and mostly you write your verse there in the studio and sit it in the studio. You know what I mean? Get it all done there and head on your way. You know, I said, and usually we try to knock the thing out one, you know what I mean, in a day. We'll take the whole track and continue that whole day. And, you know, sometimes we'll work faster and it'll be a little quicker, or sometimes it'll be slower. It all depends on how everybody's doing and, you know what I mean, what the topic is. And if you're, you know what I mean, some of the stuff you'll hear when you know what I mean, some of the things on the first Rydas things, you'll see that it took me a little longer on a couple of the songs because I would be closer to the end and everything because I'm sitting there like, all right, I'm almost done. Can y'all stop spitting for a minute? Let me hear the loop again. You know, it's like, but as time got, you know, kept going, you'll see I moved in between the verses a little closer to the front and a little in between, you know, so it wasn't always the last guy done after that.
That's interesting. So basically, when a verse is done,
sometimes you'll be like, all right, I'm in there. Okay, I'm going. You know what I mean? It all depends. It's like when it first started, I really felt out of place because I was the only new guy. You know what I mean? Really new in the sense that, you know, I didn't have any verses going yet, and only thing I did was on a Twiztid record, you know what I mean, a song on a Twiztid record, a couple of songs with them, and I did a few songs for, you know, my own stuff before that, but nothing substantial that anybody heard before. So, it was a little intimidating. I'm in there with ICP and Twiztid, you know, like, well, you know, I'm sitting in here with guys that I respect that are very talented, and I'm like, you know, what shit, I'm out of my league right now, you know? So I said, but as time went on, I kind of, you know, I felt more comfortable, and they made it that way. They all made it that way and made me feel more comfortable with everything. And they were like, you know, you're part of this shit, you know? So as time went on, I kind of, you know, got more comfortable with everything and just kept plugging away at it, really.
Okay, let's talk Gang Rags Reborn. I know that there's actually been a snippet from a track release called Dead Like Me, which sounds fucking super dope, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Seems like people are still confused by what this release is all about. So, can you tell us what the difference is between this release of Gang Rags Reborn versus like the Psychopathic and extended and uncut releases?
Okay, first things first. The Psychopathic release, Gang Rags, with the rag in it, is a complete separate album. It is nothing like any of this. It has nothing to do with Gang Rags Reborn at all. So if you like, you know, Dead Man Walking, you'll still find that record the same way it ever has because I never did nothing to it. It's not on this record. If you like Dub Sack or Holy Shit or one of those, it's not on this record. It's nothing to do with this record. This record is basically what happened was when I first started taking care of this record, me and Madrox collaborate on a lot of stuff, collaborate with writing and a lot of different things when it comes to a lot of stuff for Blaze and everything that we've done, you know what I mean, from day one. So what happened was we kind of talked this out, we had an idea for a record which was called Last House on Dead Street. We started recording, got a song into the record, and, you know, things started happening with the scene, with Juggalos. Everything was happening where people were like, oh, you know, they're calling us a gang. It started happening at this point back then. So me and him started talking about it. I was like, why don't we address that? You know, let's do it, and we'll address it, you know, through a record. I'm going to call this, let's just go at them. I'll call it Gang Rags, because that was our idea was, all right, we're going to put this we'll shelf Last House on Dead Street, because like I said, it wasn't even started yet. It was a song. You know what I mean? It hasn't even, people they think that the record's there. Well, I never started the record. You know what I mean? It's like it was a known title that we had started. So basically, what happened was we started on Gang Rags, which ended up becoming the extended edition. Well, the extended edition, they really didn't want me to release it with anything because they said that, you know, I already had a Gang Rags record released because they wanted me to do something new with Mike Clark. And, you know, I never did anything with Mike Clark before. And I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Well, they said, well, you already have so much done for this Gang Rise record. Why don't you just finish that and come on with us, and we'll do a few new tracks and we'll put it on your record. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. So technically they were like, well, do this, but you're going to have to back out of the Twiztid tour. And, last minute I kind of felt like I had to do, the record. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to have to back out. Sorry, fellas. So I stayed back. And then while I was doing this record, we continued, and they, Jay and Mike were like, it might sound kind of weird with the different beats on here going from one sound to the next sound. So they were like, let's just continue working. We'll just put a full record together. And that's what created Gang Rise with the rag in the album. So I already had material sitting aside. Like I said, I thought it was 7. It was more like 12 or 13 songs, something like that were sitting aside, and, that were technically called, it was Gang Rags. It was my version of what Gang Rags was supposed to be. So I'm like, well, I don't want to throw this material out, and I'm not going to lie to everybody. So, I want people to have it. And we're going back to what we were talking about before, where, I'm not getting enough music out. I'm not doing enough stuff. Well, basically, this is my idea. Okay, I'll take this music I have. I'll bring it out on tour with me as an exclusive. Everybody that, they can get a chance to check it out. It's music that I've done, that's there, that's not fully ready to be released, but it's music. Hey, check it out. You can have this. You know what I mean? It's a tour exclusive CD, and that's kind of what happened with it. Well, as I put that out, they didn't really like certain things about it because they didn't hear certain songs on the record. They said, pull that off the shelf, and they destroyed it midway through sale. I think I might have sold maybe 800 copies, something of that nature, to, for this Gang Rags extended edition. So, as soon as that was done, I asked them, okay, well, what can I do to get this up to code, so I could still sell it? And they told me what I could do. I had to change a few songs. I put ROC on. I moved some people off. I changed some things. I put it out, and it only had maybe another 500 copies. That's all that was bought. They didn't want to test and mess with it too much because it wasn't a real release. They weren't going to push it nationally. They just wanted to stay like that, a tour exclusive where you just bought it on tour. So, like I said, if anything, maybe 1,000 copies might have gone out, 500 or 800 one way or something close to that, and then the 500 the other, 1,300 copies, and that was it. So when it was said and done, when the label was done, I kind of, this music sitting here, hey, what are you guys going to do with it? Well, we have no interest in doing anything with it. That's what they told me. So, I was like, hey, can I get that? So basically I had to work the skirt to get the music to ownership for me. And this is basically, like I said, this is my first record that's owned entirely by me and Twiztid. This is all music and everything is owned by me. So I didn't think it should be wasted completely. And like I told you before, I didn't feel like it was completely done either. It was just, music that was something for people to hear. Here you go, record, enjoy, we'll move on to the next. But like I said, I don't think it really got its fair shake. So we went back with it. I got ownership of all the records and all the stuff on it. I took it from there and started remixing. And, I went straight from the, all the way back to the top, to the beginning, and went back down it. Let's remix everything straight up, maybe put some people on there and change everything. I said it's the best sounding record I've ever had to date, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion. Everybody's got them, like assholes and whatnot. But for real, it's I just felt like it never got its due, and I wanted everybody to get a chance to hear it. And there's a lot of people that haven't heard it, and case in point is people that are saying, you should leave Gang Rags alone. Dub Sack's my shit. Well, you never heard this. You know what I mean? It just doesn't have Dub Sack on it. It's like, this is my exact, my point. People don't realize that it's a different album. It doesn't have nothing to do with that. There are some songs you may have heard, but it's never like you heard them before. And there's 4 brand new tracks. So, it's not the end of me. It's just something that I thought should have its due. And so, for people that hear, and then I'm moving on to the next. I got more for you, and I'm going to continue on to that too. But, it's going to be like you never heard it before. It's going to have videos for it and, things that it should have had in the beginning, basically.
Man, that's awesome. I'm definitely hyped to hear it, especially after that little 45-second snippet that we got.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So, all right. Let me ask you, how do you feel about your album, Gang Rags Reborn, being the first one released under the Twisted's new label?
Oh man, I think it's a shit. I mean, I'm super hyped. I mean, I think it's devastating, and in a sense, I would love to do. I would have loved to have a brand new record, and in a sense, this is what it is to me. You know what I mean? From what it was, it is a brand new record from what it sat as and what it is now. You know what I mean? It's like if people don't like the title, get over the shit. Get over it. It's Reborn. I'm reborn. I'm reborn, brand new life. And you don't believe me? Come check me out.
You mentioned just a minute ago that you were working on a new solo album already. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm starting to get on that. Look.
Okay, so way back in May, almost 6 months ago, Twiztid tweeted that we'd be seeing a Gang Rags Reborn album, which is obviously coming out October 21st, and then a new solo project, hopefully before the end of the year. Well, I'm sure the solo project's not happening before the end of
I
the
don't
year,
think
but
it's happening now. I mean, that's what I said. We were trying. We were definitely trying, but through all this stuff that was going on, I ended up hitting the road with Killer for a couple of drive-by dates and doing some stuff, and it kind of set it back a little bit. And yeah, I think I mean, I'm trying to get it out as hopefully by the beginning of next year.
okay.
I just have to give dates. It's like I said, me being the first artist now. We do have a couple different artists on the label now too, so I mean, everybody's got to get theirs in too. But like I said, we're going to continue. We're going to try to keep them. Hopefully, I'm going to keep mine going, and what I mean, just keep going, blam, 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 try to keep them knocking them out.
No doubt. So, do you have any working title yet?
Nope, I'm still working, man. It's working. Everything's working. Titles. I've heard so many people go, dude, let's sell some Good Street. It's like, I don't know if I'm ready for it, man. It's like, I really feel that it could possibly be something of that nature, because it's going to be, I have a feeling it's going to be my Wicked record. I want to do something that's a little more, geared towards the Wicked shit. And, this next record I'm thinking is going to be something closer to that.
Are you so early on in the process that you don't even have like any do you have any beats picked out or collabs that you're working on or anything like that?
I haven't, man. I've been trying to get at a couple of different things here and there. I did a few things. I did some stuff on with Intrinsic, and I'm trying to get out there and do some things. I'm not opposed to doing music with anybody. There's this ninja out in Poland that I'm gonna kick some shit on his shit, try to check it out, Just fucking around with some different things. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying, I'd love to get some more people on mine as well, just some different artists and whatnot. But yeah, I think I just did some with Ed P a little while ago too. So I'm trying to do some stuff here and there.
Who does Blaze listen to on the regular? Like, what's on your iPod?
Oh shit, who do I listen to on the regular? Fuck, man. I don't even have an iPod. I do have an iPod, but I don't listen to it no more. I used
you
to
got a
listen to
Discman?
it all the time. All right, let me think of somebody that is actually interesting. No, I don't. I mean, straight up, I listen to. Right now, I've been listening to anything and everything, pretty much anything new. I'm trying to get into what's happening out there, but also stay away from it. I don't want to be completely riding exactly what the mainstream is doing, but then I don't want to be so lost in it that I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean? So it's like I kind of listen to a little bit of everything, and a lot of it's junk. It really is. A lot of it's a lot of junk. But I haven't bought shit in so long. You know who I'm really pissed off about is U2.
Oh,
Because
fuck
somehow
them,
I got
man.
an iPhone. I got a fucking iPhone. These motherfuckers gave away their stupid ass song or something. Every time I plug my shit into anything, it starts playing U2. I'm like, who the fuck is this? This is bullshit.
It's not just a
Just playing
song, it's a
some
whole
lame-ass
album.
song.
Yeah, it's a whole
It's
album.
lame. Well, it's lame as fuck. It don't sound good. It's lame. It's like, this is bullshit. So I'm sitting there, listening to crap, in my opinion, like, this is whack. Like, it's cool that they give the shit away, but don't fucking push that crap down my throat. I don't want that. Straight up.
All right, man. So I know that that you've been involved in a lot of groups over the years, including Drive By, still yet to be released Zodiac Mprint, still yet to be released Samhain Witch Killers.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is any of that on the table? Like, do you see you recording any of that in the future?
For sure, the Zodiac is for sure. Me and ROC have already. I think we started and we did maybe a few. I would like to say an EP, but I'm not sure exactly how much. We just kind of recorded some stuff together and just went from there. But yeah, so I'm pretty certain we're going to try to put that together. There are some other things in the works. I don't have full details on anything that's like Samhain Witch Killers. I really don't have any details on that at all. I mean, because like I said, in all honesty, when that first started, I didn't want to be part of it. I kind of just wanted, I wanted to be part of it, but I didn't want to be in the group. I was like, I'll work with y'all, but you don't got to put me on any songs. I'll just be here, you know what I mean? I'll do choruses or something. And, with them, it was like, well, we should put you in it so it's different from what, House of Crazies was. And I was like, all right, well, technically it's not called House of Crazies anyway, so I get that. So, you know what I mean? That's kind of where Samhain Witch Killers and my involvement even came from, for real.
Okay. Do you see any drive-by happening in the future?
Me and Killa just did a drive-by EP. Yeah, we dropped one a couple of months ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. It's been a little bit. Yeah, we did another EP, and basically it's like we dropped now a CD and two EPs, and you know what I mean. It's like it's just it's testing the water type stuff. If kids like it, it's just different things, and it's a way for me and Killer to still do music together. And you know what I mean. We still have fun with it, so it all depends on if kids still want to see it, because for the most part, I mean, it looks like it's fun. We have fun doing it, and it sounds different because it's a different part of me and him. But like it all depends on if everybody else wants to still peep it.
All right, so I got some random questions. First of all, where's all the merch, man? It's been a minute since you got.
Oh man, it's in this goddamn warehouse. It is. It's in a motherfucking warehouse. They're still trying to get everything corrected and shit to get it up. They do. I know what's going to be up on Twiztid Shop. Yeah, twiztidshop.com for anybody that don't know that shit. I'm sure. Yeah, it'll eventually be available there. We're just trying to work the kinks out of how it's supposed to be handled and everything, and put it up there and take care of business. TCB, as they say.
Okay, gotcha. So there were actually quite a few questions about maybe having something, and maybe having like another Purple Show comedy webisode or something like that in the future. Do you see anything like that ever happening?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to do it. I know we had, like I said, back then we were such kids. We were just fucking around with a camera. Like, here you go. But nowadays, our shit looks so bootleg that I wouldn't want to. I think we just look completely cheesy.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm doing this little coughing segment on Twiztid YouTube channel right now, trying to work my own skirt, maybe get me a channel one of these days. But working on that, trying to do just a little. It's mostly just some shit talking though. I like to talk shit, and I'm a shit talking. I think.
You gonna be doing that weekly?
I'm trying, man, for real. I really am. I'm not, I'm back on my Twitter and my Instagram. I've been, actively trying to get back on there. I see that people don't care about Twitter as much anymore. I think everybody's at Facebook. So, of course, I'm one step behind because I am dead and whatnot. But yeah, I've been actively back on my Instagram, Blazing Dead One, and my Twitter, same thing, so I'm trying to get back on there. And like I said, get to this YouTube because it's so much easier now. You just, you just smack something out and put it up. There it is.
Upload it right from your phone, right?
Yeah, for real. I mean, before it seemed like everything you're questioning what you're going to say. Should I say this? Is it cool? Wait, no, don't. Hold up. Hey, wait. But it's like I said, now I've just got to the point where it's like I don't really give a fuck anymore. I really don't. It's like, hey, whatever. It's I've done grown from that bullshit. Like, fuck this.
I don't remember where you said where you talked about this rumor that was going around online. I know it was either with Yada Media or the Underground podcast, but you talked about when you first came out with Psychopathic that that a lot of people thought you were black.
Oh yeah.
So, and I wanted to ask you about, you see all these ridiculous rumors online. What's the most, like, your favorite or your most shocking one, and are you ever tempted to respond to them?
I mean, really, well, I said to me, it's all crazy most of the time. It's like some of the stuff's funny. They said, me being black, that's funny. It's like, whatever. I'd never try to correct anybody because I don't really care. Like I said, it's like, who gives a shit, Because now people do it as a joke. They know, and they're like, and they're trying to make fun of somebody else. But yeah, I mean, there's everything's about, man, I don't even know. I'm so lost right now. Yeah, no, I mean, no, like any rumors of me being born out in Romeo, that's fucking great. It's still on the Wikipedia page, and I still get people that say, you're from Romeo, Michigan. It's like, sure am, not. I worked there once. I've never lived there. Like, fuck. It's like a farm town.
Is that supposed to be like is that looked down upon or something, Romeo, or what?
I would laugh. I mean, to me, I laugh at it because I'm like, really? I mean, maybe people are trying to like, oh, he's from Romeo. He's from a fucking punk ass farm town. It's like, it really is. It's like, it's, what I mean? When you go mile roads, 8 Mile is where Detroit is. Romeo is at 32-mile road. You know what I'm saying? I grew up closer to like 16-mile road, which is like 8 miles out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just weird. It's like, that's a far ass ride. It's a way difference. Like Mount Clemens is a smaller version of Detroit, and Romeo is like a version of shit. Maybe man, I can't even think of a place that I could tell you that you'd be like, oh, it's like that. Shit, because the only places I can think of there's other places there, small towns that I can think the same way, but they're all in Michigan, are made of. You know what I mean? That's Romeo. Or Dexter, that's Romeo. It's like these small ass towns in Michigan that's what it's like. It's a small ass town. You know what I mean? It's a 1-lane town with a a downtown that doesn't have real big buildings in it. It's like, that's why it's always just funny to me. Like, holy shit. Like, okay, whatever.
All right, so you make it no secret that you're a huge sports fan.
Fuck yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on the whole Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, all the shit in the NFL that's going on lately?
Oh, that's all wrong. These motherfuckers have been doing this shit for years, though. That's the crazy thing. It's like it's been going on forever. And I think Roger Goodell, he should go, but they're not going to send him out of there. They're too, he's their golden boy. They primed that guy since he was young to put him into this position, of power. And he's got all power, and it's like that's the problem with the league right now. They got one guy who's got all-seeing power and control over everything, but he doesn't know that he has to use it a certain way because, like I said, sponsors end up becoming something. CoverGirl's a sponsor for the NFL, but yet they have women who are getting beat up, every day. And then the women aren't going to speak up because they're getting checks. They're like, fuck this, I don't care, I'll take the money. So is it right? Is it wrong? I think it's all wrong. It's like 100%. You're never supposed to just be slapping women in the face, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely fucked up.
What really happened with Ray Rice is like nobody, part of me is like, yeah, okay. The thing that's fucked up right now is that they're looking at everybody as a case-by-case thing, but they're not. They're like, okay, well, this guy, Ray Rice, his case already happened. He got the 2 games. Then the film came out. You know what I mean? It's like he already was punished and slapped. You can't go back. It's just like court. You know what I mean? If you already fucking went to court and they already seen what happened, you know what I mean? They can't go back and be like, oh, well, no, we're going to charge him with this because, no, we seen it. It's like, well, fuck you. You already took me to court. Isn't that double jeopardy? You can't just keep slapping me back. You know what I mean? In a sense, but to me, it all was wrong in the first place. Did they do their job of checking up on it? No, fuck no. And that's what the NFL did. They wanted to sweep that shit under the rug as quick as possible because that's a player that's making them millions of dollars. They need that guy in there. You know what I mean? They need that. So they're trying whatever they can to, protect their players. And sometimes it's not protecting, it's fucking up the league even more. It's making them look ridiculous, because you got people in there that are beating up on people. You got people that are getting drug charges and getting knocked out of games and seasons. And then a person that's beating up on his wife, gets a 2-game suspension. And that's why the uproar is going on. It's like, wait, man, where's the difference? This guy is smoking weed and that one's beating his wife. I mean, there's two different things. And then the Adrian Peterson thing, it's like, okay, I mean, everybody's going to go back to that. Well, that's what happened to me when I was a kid. But does that make it right? It's like in today's day and age, you know what I mean? You gotta think with brains, and that's one thing I would assume that they would have, you know what I mean? Anybody that's been to college for all them fucking years and now is making millions of dollars in the league, they got to have some type of brains from somewhere. Now, common sense is what it really comes down to. And it's like common sense tells you, you could spank your kid, but you don't beat their ass with a switch and leave marks on them, obviously. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck? And then you got people like Reggie Bush coming out and he's defending it. Like, oh, yeah, man, my daughter does something crazy, I'm going to spank her ass too. He's backpedaling. Yeah, he's backpedaling.
Absolutely, yeah.
Crazy.
Well, hey, man, I'll end on a more positive note. People were asking about the when are we going to get the Juggalo Football League back up and running again?
Oh, man, I'm still trying. I've talked to DJ Stillin a couple of days ago, and he was the same thing. He's like, we got to finish this, and we have, like I said, we still have most of everything all situated and know where everybody's at with their stuff. And if we don't, I know Danny Too Dope, I think her name is. She still got everything, too. She still holds it down because she was part of the league. And, yeah, I said, it's like I'd love to mess with it and do it. And maybe I just have to figure out a spot to do it on, because technically there is no, I don't have a radio type show anymore to do the shit, But, yeah, it's like I love doing it. But the only problem was it was only for a select few. So it kind of felt like everybody else that wasn't doing it was just like, oh, this sucks. I just got to listen to these. Like, this is stale. I mean, so it's like I wish I could do it where it would be, full,
all inclusive,
full on, right? Where I could get everybody in it and create something. Maybe that was my original intent, was to try to create something that we could all do, like everybody. And even if it was, like maybe I'll try that, and maybe I'll try it next year. Like I seen Twiztid was doing it, and somebody else, just doing a fantasy league. I've seen Monoxide set something out there. Hey, I ain't got time to be the fantasy commissioner or whatever, but somebody else want to do it, I'll play. And I think it might be cool to do that, but we have to find something that everybody can play, like FanDuel or something crazy. So everybody, just thousands of people playing that shit.
Well, you brought up something that I didn't even think about. Are you guys planning on doing something as far as an online radio show or anything like that? Has that been talked about?
I'm not sure. We haven't talked about any of that yet. To my knowledge, they haven't. I mean, I haven't really talked to them about it. I said we just been, we've been cranking out records, trying to work on that. They're back on the road. I'm trying to get back in the studio, and that's, basically what it is. Working on them. I'm trying to do the coffin, these coffin breaks, and, get back in the game on some of this Twitter and Instagram, and just try to get back into being relevant and talked with, or so, whatever,
For what it's worth, man, your gathering set was fucking off the chain. I always enjoy your shit. I want to end on actually just ask you if you got any final words for this interview.
Oh man, come on. My final words, I love y'all motherfuckers. You guys are the shit. You guys have been holding it down for years. That means everybody out there, everybody listening, man, thank you guys forever. And I'm not done. I still got a lot to say, a lot more to do. And like I said, this is kind of like it's my rebirth. I'm reborn. That's what Gang Rags Reborn is. And I'm trying to do it all right this time. And just continue. Keep it moving. It's like you said it best. I don't have a lot of records out, and that means I got a lot more shit to be talking about. So, straight up, it's like there's a lot more to do.
Absolutely. So. All right, so if you guys heard it all, Gang Rags Reborn comes out October 21st.
Look out for that Napalm video.
Napalm, absolutely.
Yep.
And we've got Blazy Dead Homie with me. This is Scottie D from Faygoluvers, and we're out.
Yeah.